Welcome to the Bringing Intimacy Back show, where intimacy is real. If you desire to intimately connect with yourself, significant other, children, family, friends, community, and higher power, then this is the show for you. We explore intimate topics, inspiring life stories, spirituality, and insightful tips on strengthening relationships. The show is hosted by Dr. April and her co-host, Coach K. Let's get this episode of the Bringing Intimacy Back show started. We share with you today the secret power to intimacy to create the life you love or love the life you create. Now here's your host, Dr. April, and her co-host, Coach K.
Welcome to the Bringing Intimacy Back show, where intimacy is real. Welcome, Coach K.
Hello, how are you doing today?
I am doing good, but just a little bit anxiety because this show here is our closing show for now. And this has been such a wonderful journey. I started this back in 2018, where God just spoke to me about doing a show called Bringing Intimacy Back. And it's like 2025. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I've been doing it for all this time. So I'm just like, I'm thankful. I'm thankful for all the listeners that have supported me all through these years and being guests or listened to, or even people that have said, hey, I've heard this, or even all the people that have just helped out in the background. Yes. And so one of the people that helped, one of the persons that help out in the background is Rachel. And I would like to thank Rachel. She's been honestly a blessing in disguise. So thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Very talented.
Very talented. Yes. And Coach K, I mean, I just want to just say, I mean, you came, I look back, I forgot what date I had on here. Let me write it down. But it was like in April of 2021, I think, that you and I met. You came on the show.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah. And then later on you became, helping me out, and it's just been a blessing.
I'm definitely thankful. From the day that I was on the show, I was like, oh, this is awesome. I love this whole thing. And then when you had the opportunity, it's like, hey, I need a co-host. I was like, pick me. And it's been amazing ever since to see this platform, what you do, the people you touch, all of that has been. So I am honored and blessed to have been a part of this journey with you. So I thank you for choosing me.
You're welcome. Yes, thank you. Yeah. And if you're out there and if you're listening and you have a personal story or something that you want to share, please just say it either on Facebook, Instagram, or other places that where the story has touched you. So for me, intimacy has touched me in so many different ways. I think one of the first things for me is truly being intimate with myself.
Yeah. I think that just thinking about this show and the different topics, that helps to keep it in the forefront of my mind as well. Like, don't ever stop, because it's easy to just not be intimate with yourself and to just give and give and give and make sure that everybody else has and feels. And so I think this show is one of those, hey, this is just a reminder, everything starts with you, so make sure you're good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we've had a lot of shows on intimacy with self, from boundaries,
Mm-hmm.
Learning how, of course, to be motivated, learning how to say no,
Holding yourself accountable.
Yes. Yeah. Finding different activities to keep you true and real. Ghosting.
Yeah, ghosting. Yes. Oh, so can I tell you a quick story about ghosting? um, I just saw a video recently of it was a young lady who was talking about this girl who had just had a baby, and one day her friends just rolled up to her house. I think she had the baby a week before, and they were playing this Beyonce song, "Girl," and the sun. So they were playing it real loud in the speakers, and they were like, "Hey, come outside." They were trying to get the girl's attention. She wouldn't come outside, so they finally got in the house, and the girl had locked herself in her room. And so they were like, still singing the song, like, "Hey, what's going on? We just come to check on you." She apparently blocked all of her friends.
Mm,
Um, and then when they got into the room, she had locked herself in a closet. And so they eventually got in the closet. And if you think about friendship, yeah, she ghosted everyone, but her friends knew enough to say, "You know what? You just had a baby a week ago. This is not
right.
usual behavior." And they showed up and they would not leave. And they told her,
Mm,
"Even if we have to come back every day, we're going to make sure that you're okay." So I love that, we brought up that ghosting, because sometimes it's not what it seems to be on the surface.
right, definitely. And then she had these wonderful friends who showed
Yeah.
up for her.
They might have saved her life and the
And they
baby's
did.
life. You
Right,
never,
and saved
never know.
life and everything. Yeah, yes. And if you have wonderful friends, and even as I think about this show, I mean, I've been blessed with some wonderful friends who've actually been on my show that I'm so thankful for. Dr. Jason was one of them. He was on my show talking about relationships, and we've had a big journey together. That was before he was licensed and helping him get licensed, and now he has a big practice. I was just thinking, my line sister Letitia was on there, and we did something about intimacy with cancer. We've had a few
Mm,
people, which has been very. Sometimes when people have serious illnesses, it really does affect the relationships. And one of the reasons why I love doing this show is because every time I just talk about intimacy, people always think it's just sex,
right.
you know? Yeah, but there's so many other forms of intimacy. So that was really great. And one of my other line sisters, her name's Roberta Moyes, she came in and talked about, and this was in 2020, how to be intimate and helping teaching your kids, when all the kids were home and
Yeah.
teaching. Yes, yes,
That
yeah,
was
yeah.
definitely
Yeah,
major.
yeah,
This
definitely.
the array of topics that came through this show over the last over 5 years, it really opened people's eyes to how vast and just large that one word is. Intimacy is so large, and to try to bring it down to just one action. So I can appreciate that you created this to just remind everybody, hey, it truly is bringing intimacy back. It's reminding us how big such a little word really is. It encompasses so much. And just the show alone, the intimate setting of, two co-hosts and a guest, that intimate conversation that we are able to share with people in their intimate spaces wherever they are.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And we've done topics from being intimate with food to, of course, just the variety of office space, and also, of course, a lot on relationships
Hmm.
and how um, and the different aspects of relationships. I mean, we've done it all between affairs or just that disconnect, or even just coming up with creative date things and date nights. And I recently, it was maybe about 2 years ago. Her name was Dr. Kate Goldie. She came on and she talked about how intimate in dating and how to
Hmm.
use Legos.
Oh, nice.
Yes, yeah. And since that, I've taken that, her concept, and when I work with couples, I use a lot of Legos in the sense of playing because intimacy is, it's being fully present. So it's just been amazing.
1000%.
Yeah, yeah. And when I think about all the, because it's been so many people that have helped. Um, some other people that have really helped. Dr. Kelly was my first co-host, and she
Yep.
just did a wonderful job. Then I also had Ashley and Chris Bruce. I think maybe I'm not sure. They talked about divorce and as lawyers, and I know one time you um, did an episode also when we were doing about lawyers and divorce and going through that process of intimacy. It's just really, it can be sticky, but how can you still be fully present and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, that's a difficult one, and you don't think about intimacy in the same sentence with divorce, but honestly, that's high up in the definitions of intimacy because there's now a lot of strangers that are getting in the midst of your personal life, and there's this judge who now is telling you how to separate that personal life that you created with someone. So, and you feel vulnerable,
Mm-hmm.
it's a lot of emotions, of course, that goes into a divorce, but you definitely feel vulnerable for yourself and with yourself. And if you have a family, children, you're vulnerable for the children, this person who you once was, you know, thinking you're going to spend the rest of your life with. You see them differently because they may act differently. They don't
Right.
know how to sometimes stay in a positive intimate moment because
Mm-hmm.
all intimacy is not positive.
Mm-hmm.
So they go into that negative side of intimacy, and it can sour how you then start to show
Show up.
intimacy with yourself and others. So yeah, we don't think about those two in the same vein. So, having that as a part of the show, again, so many amazing topics that come through this show that you don't think about.
Right. And if really am, being honest and with my audience, back in, I had to go back and look, but back in around 2020, I went through a big separation in a relationship.
Mhm.
And as you're saying, people don't think about when you're separating, um, how important intimacy is with yourself, your higher power, and just those. It sometimes it's tough when you're going through those tough moments because you want to disassociate.
Yeah.
And when you're truly intimate, you're truly present. But when bad things happen, we're like, oh my gosh, we just have to disassociate. But really, we need to work through it.
Right. So you can feel it all, understand it all, truly not miss things that will show up later.
Hmm.
And it can be difficult. Absolutely.
Right, right. We've done a variety of topics on healing.
Hmm.
Yeah. And it kind of goes back to that self and that process of when you're truly intimate, it's watching what is your mind telling you? What are you feeling? Sitting in that, understanding where it's coming from, digging deep. What's the root cause of this? What's the core belief?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I feel like having those different topics is a healing point for someone each and
Mm-hmm.
every single time. So every single Thursday, there's a new something that goes out into this world when people watch. Uh, I never thought about that. This is
Right.
maybe what I'm feeling. So let me work on this to complete my healing process because it's lifelong. It doesn't go away. So being able to talk about some of the more difficult things, we've talked about some very difficult things. You even being able to share your personal experience.
Mm-hmm.
When it was happening, you were still doing the show. Nobody's would ever guess that there is something major happening, but you had to be present in the moment for this segment, and then you had to go back to being present in that reality
Mm-hmm.
every day,
Right.
and then you still have to work with your patients every day. So being able to show Oh, and a human being,
Right.
I think, is the touch to this show. It's not just we're talking about some pie in the sky hypothetical things that are happening. You're talking about real life things that are happening in real time. And there's somebody else that's potentially going through that. It's like, okay, if she can show up and she's still present, because you can tell when someone's not, but
Right.
we can see she's still present, then there's hope for me. So
Right.
let me listen to this and see, what do I need to do to keep myself present and be okay with not being okay sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Right. And I think what's interesting is being on the show, we get to hear a lot of people's stories.
Mm-hmm.
And we realize that we're not alone.
Yep.
Yes, we've had plenty of stories about how people have lost through death, through affairs, through grief, through just extraordinary things, hurricanes, a variety of stuff. Yeah. We all experience pain, and this platform was a way of people to come on and experts to come on and to explain how, when you're going through stuff, how the best ways, the most effective ways to heal in that process.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And the other thing that was also really great about the show that I really always love was every month we would represent a charity of the month. Yes. Yes. And so I'm still keeping with that tradition, of course. And the charity that we were doing this month, which was just fabulous how this all comes out together, is Black Girls Code. And what I like about Black Girls Code is it uplifts young girls who look just like me, to look like you, who sometimes think like, oh my gosh, I can't do this. I don't have enough this. I don't know X, Y, Z. And they have different resources. Yes.
To know that there's a space for you to feel comfortable, so that you can be in that space, because what we see on TV is totally different than what this organization really represents. So great program, because there are a lot of girls that love the code.
Mm-hmm.
And as a Black girl, we may not feel comfortable going into that space with where you're the minority, because it's complicated. I don't know how to code. I know nothing about it. So to walk into a thing that's all kinds of numbers, like, yeah, I want somebody I can relate to on a smaller scale, and then I'll get that big job somewhere else.
Yes. Yes. And I just want to thank all the agencies, because we've done everything from supporting nurses to supporting breast cancer, school supplies. Yeah, all the international peace. We've just done a variety of different. And I think what's good about that is there's a lot of nonprofits out there. And without the help of the community, they suffer. So I'm so glad that we were able to do that. Yes. So we're going to take a commercial break, and then we're going to be back in a moment.
Are you seeking quality counseling for yourself or your loved ones? At Cape Coral Therapists in Sarasota, our skilled therapists specialize in children counseling, family counseling, couples counseling, and individual counseling. We provide personalized care for all ages, ensuring you receive the support you need. Open 7 days a week, we offer counseling in Spanish, Creole, Czech, and English, making quality care accessible to everyone. Contact us today and take the first step towards a brighter tomorrow.
Okay, welcome back to the Bringing Intimacy show, where intimacy is real. So, Coach K, I've been talking about the different shows that are popping up in my mind. Which one was your favorite?
Hmm. I don't know.
Okay,
I think because I enjoy so many. I can't think of it right off the top of my head. I
one
get
of
so
my
engulfed in it.
yeah, one of mine that was it was just a show that we aired because it was live, but we never made it into a podcast. It was the only show we've done that with talk about secrets to growing intimacy. It was a young gentleman who didn't quite understand um, how men and women differ in how they view sexuality.
Yeah. So I did not mention that one because it wasn't in in the but that was definitely different. That was
Yes, yes,
definitely
yes, 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 yeah, yeah. It was a live show. And one reason why I like doing this show is to help explain and do a little bit of psychoeducation.
yes. that was that was kind of a shocker. I think it was pretty cool. Because again, I love that you allow people to come and truly be who they are genuinely. That there's no, well, you can't say this, you can't do this, you can't. It's truly, hey, we want
Right,
you to be your authentic self.
right.
And so that's why I was like, I enjoyed so many of them.
Hmm.
One of them, I even once we finished, I contacted him and was like, hey, I need you to be a speaker at my annual conference, Shayna,
Oh,
because of
awesome.
the
Yes.
way the things that she spoke about her, her upbringing. And I'm like, I wouldn't have never guessed.
Hmm.
I do my best not to judge books by the cover, which is why I was so impressed to see this young white woman who went through so many things you hear about in those deep Southern church Black homes.
Right.
And it's like that was so helpful in remembering that we all go through some of the same things. You
Hmm.
know, one race is not exempt from another, one religion is not exempt from another, one culture is not exempt. We all go through it. We just don't wear it on our sleeves all the time. We don't just go around blurting it out. But just thinking about when she was on here, I was like, oh wow, I need to get her in the building.
Okay. Yes. Yeah, we all go through it because we're all human.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. We all have the same, blood running through us, and so as humans, this world is going to be a challenge. You know, I mean, that's just how it's been designed. And the other thing that I like about how I was trying to do this show is to also bring in um, that spirituality
Hmm.
aspect. Yes, because at the time when I was thinking about the show, there were no shows that really deal with spirituality and sex at the same time. It's like
And
those are like separate pieces. But
no, they're
really,
so heavily connected.
yes, exactly. Yes, yeah. I mean, you need that spiritual intimacy, and I call it higher power God. Other people call it something else, but that helps ground you.
Hmm.
Once you know why you're sitting there, why you're there, why you're wherever you are, and you feel comfortable in your own space, it decreases mental health, and it helps you to be more intimate with the things around you, even the environment, the people.
Yeah, I think sex has become so transactional and so like, almost robotic that you forget the fluidity of the spiritual piece of it. You're really sharing your body, yeah, but your mind, you're sharing your energy, you're sharing so much when it comes to that one physical act. So bringing back that bridge, through this show is super important, and it's
Yeah.
greatly appreciated.
Yeah. And so I mean, I've learned a lot through all the guests that we've had on, through the people, through you. Yes. And like you said, showing up every week and going through these topics helps me to learn how to be more intimate, more authentic, you know? Yeah. And not just transactional in every aspect. Because this world can be so fast, especially lately.
Yes. Yes. Look, 2025 just started yesterday and it's almost March. It's like in 2 days it will be March. You know, already we had our little 2 weeks of winter and it's like, okay, boom, let's go into spring.
Right. And it's been a busy February and a lot of changes for a lot of people. I mean, people are losing jobs, they're feeling unsafe where they're living. There's so much stuff going on. And yes, and I don't want people to think that I don't recognize it, but I recognize it.
Yeah. And so to have places like this where once a week they can show up and just put some headphones in and get away from that and maybe pick something up that may help them navigate all of these nuances. Because, yes, there is a lot happening to so many people, and you're seeing it more vocal. You're seeing, I think, where we automatically think of hate
Mm-hmm.
when if you take a step back and look further into it, it's probably just frustration and fear that's coming out as hate. Now, granted, there is some hate going on. Don't get me wrong. But every time that you see hate and anger, sometimes just take a step back and see, like, where is that coming from? Oh, you just found out that you don't know over the next 60 days if you're going to be able to feed your family because the cost of eggs is $12 a carton. And you
Right.
have to decide between getting your blood pressure medicine that just went up, skyrocket high, or your mortgage went from, $1,000 to $4,000 and your job is in limbo. Like, these are the things that people are tossing around every single day, and it's touching more lives because it's coming from the top down, thinking about the government space,
Right. That's a, yeah.
all of that.
Right.
And how
It's
many
true.
people work in the government system? Hundreds
Yes,
of
over
thousands of people.
300,000. Yes.
And there, my daughter, she got one of those emails of, hey, take this bio. She was like, I don't want to, but think about somebody who's 3 years from retirement.
Right. Well, yeah,
And
I have had workers who've gotten 4 or 5 of those emails saying, let go, cat, let go, let cat. Yeah. It's just, which it's traumatic.
it is. It really is. And because we don't recognize that trauma is something like this, that it's not just if somebody snatches you off the street.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a really good reminder that while when you got that email and the way your body felt when the hair stood up on the back of your neck or your heart started to race or your mind started to want, that's your trauma response because a traumatic thing just happened. Yes, an email can be traumatic. So understanding that you're going through something, most people don't know what they don't know. So
Mm-hmm.
being able to speak about that now and being able to, hey, go back and watch some of the shows that have aired. Because there's definitely something in there that may help you in this time that's happening right now.
Right, definitely. Because if you're a government worker or even or not even if you're a government worker and all the people that are just don't know if due to immigration what's going to happen. We're saying we see you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because many times people don't even expect any of this, that this was ever going to happen.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, we're in America, right?
And you would think, I mean, in my mind, I always thought government jobs are the most secure jobs ever. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
You try to be, hey, I'm gonna do this. We're in America. We got comfortable because
And we got freedom. Yes.
we get freedoms, right?
Yes.
And now it's like, oh nope, let me just take that away. Like what?
Yeah.
So love on yourselves. That's what bringing intimacy back. That back piece is exactly where this show is hitting home. Bring it back to yourself. You know, if you're hurting because you read that email, but you're trying to stay strong for everyone else, stop.
Right.
Stop it. Feel it. Allow it to go through you. Understand it. Tell somebody,
okay to
I'm
cry.
not okay.
Yeah. It's okay to put your head down and cry and say, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do.
Yes.
Yeah, that is okay. I mean, I've had to do that. I mean, since starting this and to 2005, I've had to do that a few times, and it's okay. But it's in those moments of stopping, feeling, connecting with people, your higher power, nature. Yes, it can sometimes settle you and help you get to see, maybe I do have options. Yes. But you cannot ignore it.
Not at all. That's the worst thing you do. You know, just thinking about the pause that we're looking to do right now. It's that. So I want people to think about it. Maybe this is just your pause.
Right.
Because sometimes in order for you to do that thing that you set out to do, or to achieve that goal that you said you wanted to have, maybe you just have to take a pause.
Right.
Allow things to work around you for a little while you just kind of sit back and you recollect yourself. Because a pause is not a stop. A pause is just hold up for now. Right.
And let me talk about that pause. Many times we're going and doing things and doing things and doing things. But sometimes, and for me, I really try to center myself. And for me, even in pausing this show right now, it was a little word that God spoke to me. It's time to pause, to take a break. You know, and sometimes people are like, well, why do you want to take a break? Or even you say to yourself, why do I need to take a break? I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this. But sometimes we have to pause because there may be other things that we have to do. Okay, that may be one reason. Sometimes we have to pause because there's something in the background that we don't even know that's stirring up, that's working. Yeah. Sometimes we have to pause because it's maybe not, it's someone else's turn. Yeah, there's so many reasons. Pause doesn't necessarily mean that it's a bad thing, but it's something that, how can I put it? You can't be scared to do. Right. So many people are so scared of just being still. You know, it's like go, 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 go. It's like, oh my gosh, I cannot be still. But sometimes in those still moments, and I've had a number of times, it brings so much meaning. It equips you for what's next.
It does. When I think of a pause, I think of when I'm watching a show and one of the kids come and talk to me. I can let the show play, or I can pause it so I can hear what they have to say, and then I can be back engaged with the show. The show didn't go anywhere, right? When I come back, it's going to be on, or I have the choice to go to another show. But I paused it just for a moment so that I can change direction, and then I can come back.
Yes. And for me, deciding to pause the show it said I felt like my higher power was telling me to do so. It was like a decision that was very hard for me to make. But I understand that I've got a lot of things going on. I'm actually getting married in a couple of weeks, which is exciting. Yes, yeah. I'm very excited about that. I've had to also expand both of my little offices and doing some other stuff. And I don't know where else my higher power is taking me, but I have been so thankful, Coach K, to have you on the show and helping me. And you bring so much joy to everything that
it's easy to do with you. It's so easy. You make it so easy.
Yes. So we're going to take a commercial break and actually review, I guess, the shows that have happened over the years. And we'll be back in a moment.
What is it? And now at 17. Look, that's a beautiful.
I mean, thinking, aren't we looking for nice guys? Welcome to the Bringing Intimacy Back show, where intimacy is real. How are you doing, Coach K?
Welcome to the Bringing Intimacy Back show, where intimacy is real.
Welcome to the Bringing Intimacy Back show, where intimacy is real.
First several years, we're absorbing so much. Those neural pathways, those tracks are getting laid down, and we're absorbing so much. As a young child, we're like an open sponge, and whatever is unresolved in our caretaker's emotional space, we're going to take that on.
That you have to have an emotional connection with somebody in order to be able to enjoy intimacy with them and exchange intimate moments with them.
Being intimate with someone or living in intimacy is really, again, about connection, communication, and living truthfully.
I always tell people there is happiness, healing, and wholeness, but you got to first start talking about it.
These conversations weren't just about intimacy and relationships. They were about embracing the deepest parts of ourselves. This podcast wasn't just ours. It was a space we built together. Every story, every message, every lesson mattered. As we close this chapter, we carry forward the love, the lessons, and the intimacy we've built. Thank you for being part of this journey. Until we meet again, keep growing, keep loving, and keep bringing intimacy back.
Bye, everyone. Aww.
My cheeks hurt. I'm sitting smiling hard.
Thank you, Rachel. That was wonderful. Oh my gosh.
That was beautiful. You did an amazing job, Rachel.
Yes. Rachel is our producer in the back, and she created those video clips of the different past shows. So, yes.
And you all are getting live reaction because neither of us saw that. We all get to see it at the same time. And when I tell you, like, literally my cheeks are hurting because I'm sitting here smiling so hard.
Yes. Thank you, Coach K, for being the intimate partner with me and bringing intimacy back. I truly appreciate it.
You are so welcome. And thank you for taking a chance with me.
Yes.
And allowing me to be in your space and to connect with your audience that you were growing already, you know, for trusting me. This is your baby, and you trusted me with your baby.
Oh, yes.
And I appreciate that.
Yes, we definitely had to help it grow, and I really appreciate that. And I thank you, all listeners who listen, and previous guests who've been on the show, for trusting that I'd be able to show or tell your story or help your story be out there on this platform. And for the guests, for also, or for listeners who came in and listened to hear something, I hope that it has definitely impacted you. And I wish all the special, intimate moments for each of you, for yourself, and getting to know and love yourself, because that's what this show is about. And also to bring intimacy to the people around you. Because I do, in my own belief system, I do believe we're intimate more with each other, being fully present, that there'll be a lot more peace. And if you're out there hurting, like we talked about earlier, because hurting people hurt people. If you're hurting, I want you to really, really know that the show, and we have a lot of different shows you can listen to, has some wonderful information for you to help you provide different coping skills. And through this all, also learn how to connect with other people, because that's how we heal. It's when we connect with other people, with nature, with the higher power. And of course, myself and Coach K, we're both out there in the world helping in our own little businesses. You can definitely look us up, and we would love to help in any way possible. Thank you all. And this has been the Bringing Intimacy Back show, where intimacy is real. Love you. Bye for now.
Bye for now.
Thank you for listening to today's episode of Bringing Intimacy Back, where intimacy is real. You can also find us at bringingintimacyback.com, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Dr. April Brown's 7-book series, Improving Intimacy, is now on Amazon. We'll see you next Thursday at 3:30 p.m. Don't forget to follow, share, and subscribe.